Hi, welcome to Best in Tesla News, episode 111. Analysts are saying Tesla's demand are monstrous. Tesla starts deliveries of their Berlin factory. And Elon drops some juicy details about Tesla's future. And Tesla is making history in Norway. And GM starts production of their Lyriq. And Hertz are buying some more Teslas, this time the Model Y. And Sandy Monroe says that Tesla's full self-driving sucks. And what does the US Homeland Department of Security has to do with Mary Barra? The answer to this and much more on today's episode. Let's dive right in.
Let's put our living stereo stylus in this groove.
And Tesla finally started deliveries from their Berlin factory this Tuesday, a date to remember because this will go down in history as the day the European car market changed forever. But I did make a whole video about the event and the implications, so if you haven't seen that one and want to dive more into this important moment in Tesla's history, check that video out. But I also wanted to show some of this footage from inside the Berlin factory shared on YouTube by Stuffmaster Ben. I will leave a link down below so you can check out the whole video that Tesla did here. A very cool little video with some insane drone skills and shows off pretty much the whole factory and all the steps of manufacturing the car. Definitely go check that one out. But even on the day, Gordon Johnson didn't believe it. The factory is not even finished. They can't deliver any cars. It's just a diversion from Elon's court case about the 4020 tweet. What?
And also keep in mind, at this factory, the Berlin factory, the paint shop is currently being run on generators. It's not complete. The drivetrain unit is not open. And their battery factory is roughly a year from being complete. The roughly 1,000 cars they made in Berlin don't have permits, so we don't know why people are saying they're going to deliver cars to people. We don't think they are. This isn't even a complete facility. So we think this is really just a pump story, like many of their events. And we think that when you consider that, you take a step back, you look at their market share still collapsing in Europe. We actually think their deliveries could be flat to down in the March quarter. So we think Gene may be disappointed. You consider that it looks like their deliveries in Europe peaked in Q4 of last year. We think Q1 is going to be down versus Q4 and Q3. We think Tesla has big problems. So we think that we're on the verge of, being proven right. We want to talk about the competition, but we think this facility is just another pump story.
And only hours later, Tesla started deliveries of the first Model Y from that Berlin factory that Gordon only believed was there to pump up the stock. Yes, it will pump up the stock as it will pump out thousands of cars into the European market that Tesla is already dominating this year, Gordon. And he continues to compare Tesla sales to ICE sales from Toyota. That is like comparing iPhone sales to Nokia's mobile phone sales in 2008. Look, Apple is nothing compared to Nokia. Hey, where did Nokia go? Yeah, it's not the same thing, mate. And just winding down the production of all of these ICE engines, as I made a whole video about, could kill Toyota all on its own. ICE cars are not an asset, Gordon. It's a problem. You are living in the past, my friend, and running out of bad things to say about Tesla. You are comparing Tesla's 30% gross margin vehicles of the future with a dying horse. But as all of the other many years, Gordon has been talking about Tesla and said their sales would collapse and they would have a disaster of a year, well, he has been nothing but wrong. Tesla has only been going up, and saying that Tesla will be going down in 2022, oh boy. Gordon, you have always been wrong, but this one is going to be embarrassingly wrong. Good thing you're just a so-called analyst and not an investment firm, because you would have been losing a lot of money. And speaking of investments, can you guys name me the asset that been around for 277 years in a portfolio of the world's wealthiest people? It's a tricky question, but I am of course talking about fine art. People like the Rockefeller family invested huge parts of their fortune in fine art, eventually selling their collection for $835 million in 2018. Now, modern billionaires still collect art because they know its value as an investment. In fact, contemporary fine art prices outpaced the S&P 500 by 164% from 1995 to 2021. So why aren't people like you and I investing in this? Well, it takes millions of dollars to acquire a good piece, and it is a hard market to navigate until now, that is, thanks to Masterworks, the sponsor of this video. Masterworks' mission is to make it possible for everyone to invest in great work of art through breaking each painting into shares registered with the SEC. Similar to how you buy Tesla stock, now you can buy fractional shares of pieces by masters like Picasso, Andy Warhol, and Banksy. Masterworks uses 60,000 data points to find financially attractive work of art, buy them, let you invest in the share representing an investment in the painting, and the result speaks for themselves. So far, they have sold 3 paintings, with each returning over 30% to its investors. With results like that, it's no wonder that over 350,000 people have already signed up with Masterworks. With the uncertainty in the stock market and the inflation we see right now, fine art seems to be a pretty safe bet, especially when we look at the historical data. As always, do your own research when it comes to investing, but if you want to be part of what Wall Street's Journal called the hottest market on earth, click my custom link here in the description below to skip the waiting list and join the Masterwork community today. But one thing we should dive more into is what Elon said at the Berlin Delivery Day, because he had some juicy details about Tesla's future to talk about. It was the speech after the delivery event for the people at Tesla, where Elon said some important things. Not the things about the Berlin factory, but some of the other cool stuff he mentioned. And remember, Elon doesn't just throw random numbers out there. He has definitely thought about all of this, so we need to pay attention to what he's saying.
We're making the future better. So what you're doing really matters. It makes a difference. But a huge part of that is scaling to high volume. So in order for us to really affect the world in a positive way, because we get a lot of press, we get a lot of attention, but you say how many vehicles have we made as a percentage of total vehicles in the world? Because there's 2 billion vehicles in the world. Well, so far we've actually are well below 1%. We're not even 0.5%. So it's essential for us to really affect the future in a positive way. We have to make a lot of cars. That's the only way. We're growing by 70, 80% a year on average, and maybe even faster than that in the future. Tesla is the fastest growing company in history that makes a large manufactured product. So the next fastest, I think, was the Ford Model T, like that was 100 years ago. And we're actually growing faster than the Ford Model T, which is crazy.
Yes, it's important that they scale up to high volume, which is in line with what he said on his tweet about his Master Plan 3, where he said extreme scaling. As he said, if you want to affect the future in a positive way, we have to make a lot of cars, because the EVs are still such a little percentage of the cars on the road, not just new sales, but we have to change the about 2 billion ICE cars on the road today out with EVs for this to really matter. And this is what I love about Elon and Tesla. They are not just here to scale up to crazy big numbers because they want to earn a lot of money. No, they want to scale up to extreme volumes because we have to change the world for the better, and this is why we need to do it fast as well. Ford and GM are now trying to do it because otherwise they will die. They are forced to do it, but don't want it to go too fast because that will hurt their big pile of cash and their pensions. So Tesla has to take matters into their own hands because others are moving so slow. So they will scale to extreme. So Elon is still saying 20 million EVs by 2030, but they will probably not stop there. And Tesla's scaling up is not going to slow down, but only speed up. As Elon also said, they have grown about 70 to 80% on average, but in the future, probably more. Yeah, I'll say, because he also answered another question about how many gigafactories in the best case scenario over the next 10 years Tesla would build.
Well, best case scenario, I suppose 10?
Maybe 10? Best case scenario, 10 more gigafactories in the next 10 years. I know Volkswagen will build one factory in 4 years, so let that one sink in for a moment. Tesla will of course build out the Berlin factory with its 4 phases, so Berlin, Fremont, Texas and Shanghai, those 4 factories should be able to at least scale up to be able to produce about 7 million vehicles per year all on their own, including batteries for those vehicles at those factories. And Elon wants to build 10 more. You do the math on that one. Tesla's 2030 target of 20 million EVs is not Tesla's endgame. It is just a milestone. And Tesla is already the fastest growing company in history that makes large manufacturing products, even growing faster than Ford did with its Model T back over 100 years ago. That changed the whole transportation sector. That went from 11% car market share from the horses to 81% market share in only 13 years. And Tesla is growing faster. Let that one sink in as well. And another great historic thing happened for Tesla in the European EV market this week. Tesla has overtaken Volkswagen as the brand in Norway that has sold more EVs accumulated through the years, with just over 82,000 units sold. For context, Volkswagen started deliveries of their e-Golf in Norway in 2002. Tesla started with the Roadster in 2009 in Norway, but now Tesla has outsold the Volkswagen brand in Norway, even though Volkswagen had a 7-year head start. And that happened the same week as Tesla opened their Berlin factory. Yeah, things are about to get wild. Also because we can see Tesla is already leading the race in Europe with the numbers we have so far from the EU-EVs.com. Tesla is leading with the 2 best-selling EVs. And look at that, this week the Model Y overtook the Model 3 and will probably not look back now when we have the Berlin factory as the best-selling EV in Europe. And as the best-selling EV brand in Europe, well, that is also Tesla here year to date in 2022. And Tesla has just opened the floodgate to the European market with their Berlin factory. Hope you are ready for this, because this is going to be one heck of a rocket ride for Tesla in Europe this year. And of course in China, where there will be a lot of Model Ys freed up that does not have to go to Europe anymore. And oh yeah, in 2 weeks Tesla will hold another party at the Texas factory, which is even bigger and already has the battery factory up and running. Tesla is going to be so dominating in the EV market in 2022, it is ridiculous. We don't have all the numbers for Q1 yet, but Q1 is coming to an end, and one country that does release EV sales numbers every single day is Norway. So on EU-EVs.com we can make a little comparison to last year's numbers, because we only have a couple of days left of Q1. But why even look at Norway? They are such a little country. Yes, but it is a little peek into the future, because they are already over 80% EV market share of new car sales. We always talking about that will happen in the future, but in Norway they are already there, and the competition is also already there. Almost every EV model produced today for international sales you will find in Norway. You can even find Xpeng's and Neo's EVs there as well, and this is the country everyone is starting in with selling EVs. So how does it look here in 2022 compared to 2021 in Norway with all these new competitors we had in 2021? Well, we can see in Q1 2021, it was about the 20th of February that Tesla got some shipped to Norway with cars from China, and the sale just shoot up like a rocket, ended off with 2,600 units sold in Q1. If we then look at the Q1 for 2022, that is not done yet, well, we can see that the ships came in a little later this year and the big ramp and sale happened about 10 days later this year. But the rocket's path is even steeper this year, and they are already over 4,000 units sold year to date before the quarter ends. So all of the competition they have in Norway has not done anything to test their sales, quite the opposite. And everyone else has their normal steady ramp through the quarter. That also just shows us what kind of production capacity Tesla has compared to all the other guys. And now Berlin are in the mix as well. And GM starts production of another EV model, the Cadillac Lyriq. But the production volumes, they don't really want to talk about, so we have to wait and see. GM is starting production of their Cadillac Lyriq, which is 9 months ahead of schedule, so that is nice, and the first EV on the Ultium battery platform to be produced of any kind of volume, because we haven't really seen much about the Hummer EV yet here in 2022, so the Lyriq is a very important car for GM. But I thought we were over the whole Tesla killer thing, but I guess not. The street calls the Lyriq a Tesla killer. I mean, come on guys. I remember the Hummer EV and even the Bolt was called a Tesla killer. So this is the third GM Tesla killer. And the Bolt has not been produced since August 2021, 6 months ago. So hope this EV production will go better, because GM really has to start showing something. They will start with the original pre-orders, but that should only be about 1,500 units, and start opening up for more reservations in May of this year and start deliveries in Q2. But GM will of course not give any numbers of volume of this car, because they probably don't have big production ready for this.
But we haven't given any volume predictions here on Lyriq quite yet. This is a very special vehicle. It's going to be very high quality and relatively high volume.
So like all the others I talked about in my latest video, this is just yet another EV model of many to come with low volume. Just like Jim Cramer said on CNBC, everyone got EVs, but Tesla is selling them.
By the way, everybody's got electric cars, but he sells electric cars.
Right.
But time will tell, and it will be exciting to see how many they will be able to produce by the end of this year. And speaking of EV target, as I talked about in my latest video about how the others have not made all the big deals with mining companies, and therefore I don't believe that Ford will be able to do 2 million EVs in 2026 and GM in 2025 for that matter. But this is not just me. Even Adam Jones from Morgan Stanley doesn't believe Ford and GM will be able to hit their target, and he is putting some very grim numbers for Ford and GM, as he says Ford will only be able to produce about 500,000 compared to its 2 million target, and GM only 300,000 in 2025. Mostly because of the shortage in material, like I talked about in my latest video, and Adam Jones just added this week that according to their China battery team, most of the LFP battery makers purchase lithium carbonate as a spot price and have almost no long-term contracts. This is insane. Battery manufacturers not making long-term deals with mining companies like Tesla does. I did make a few mistakes in my last video about some of the deals being at a fixed price, which they were not, but that does not change the fact that Tesla has dozens of deals with mining companies and some of them with fixed prices. And now Adam Jones is saying not many LFP battery manufacturers doing that and buying at a spot price. Man, it is only Tesla that has really sat down and thought this one all the way through, probably because many of the other guys didn't believe Tesla and that this transition would happen this fast, but this is really going to hurt them. And Adam Jones has been out earlier this year talking about how difficult just scaling down the ICE business will be, so they are starting to see what's going on at Morgan Stanley, so that is nice. And they did raise their price target for Tesla not that long ago, still only $1,300, but up from only only a couple of bucks just 2 years ago, so that's good. And it's putting some downward pressure on GM and Ford, just like we saw with Goldman Sachs that lowered their price target on both GM and Ford and raised the price target on Tesla. Yep, Wall Street is waking up slowly, but waking up to what is going on, who is on the way up and who is on their way down. And another stock analyst and also Tesla bull, Trip Shorty, which has a Tesla price target of $1,500, was out saying Tesla's demand was monstrous because everyone only wants to buy Tesla. A bit saturated, but the point gets through here. No one sees a demand like Tesla. And the Chinese EV makers are making some big moves behind the scenes. You may know that Shell and NIO made a partnership a while back to make more charging available at Shell's station in strategically located cities in China and Europe. But now BYD joins the party to expand their charging network in China and Europe. These guys are not kidding around and are preparing to come to Europe big time. And NIO just hold their earnings call, and they still lost about $630 million in 2021, even though they sold almost 100,000 BEVs. So still have some way to go, but are getting closer to profits. They think they will have a full year of profitability in 2024, so only a couple of years left for them to lose money, so that's cool. They delivered 91,429 EVs in 2021, representing an increase of 109.1% from 2020, so NIO rose as much as the plug-in market itself, so that's pretty cool. And the vehicle margins was 20.1% for the full year of 2021 compared to 12.7% for the previous year. Very impressive. They are heading in the right direction. Hope they can keep this up. And this also shows that this EV startup, NIO, that is getting help from JAC to produce the cars and has been bailed out by the Chinese government once, but is now producing the same amount of BEVs as both Mercedes and BMW. And NIO is a luxury car brand, so this is their territory NIO is coming for in Europe. So going to be very exciting to see how NIO will do in Europe compared to BMW and Mercedes. And let's get our weekly update on the Tesla Gigafactories. That means handing it over to Brian for My Tesla Weekend. Take it away, Brian.
Hey Lars. Well, we're a bit limited on footage this week, so forgive us for that. In Shanghai, where there are travel restrictions in place, can't really show you anything. But last week we did get footage to show just how close the new CATL factory is to Giga Shanghai. Yeah, you can see it on the horizon. It's right there. In Berlin, also no new footage on the outside because of the big event on the inside. Deliveries have begun. This factory is operational. In Texas, we actually have great footage. At the south end, where the superchargers were being put in last week, those are now fully operational. Along the west side, we see streetlights have been put in, and on the roof, more solar, shaping out the S in Tesla nicely. Along the west side, concrete has been poured for the steps, for the main entrance, and at the north end of the building, along Tesla Road, the grass has been torn out for regrading, and they'll be putting that landscaping back together just in time for GigaFest on April 7th. And if you're going to be in Texas on April 7th, we have a huge meet and greet with a bunch of Tesla YouTubers. It's going to be a lot of fun. It'll be held at Southeast Metro Park in Del Valley, just a few miles from Giga, Texas. If you can join us, we'd love to see you. Maybe RSVP if we get a link on there. Maybe we do. That'd be great, so we know how much pizza to bring for this free event. Back to you, Lars.
Thank you so much for the update, Brian. Can't wait to see some more pictures coming from the Giga Texas party on the 7th of April, where Elon also tweeted this little picture of Tesla Cyber Rodeo. Can't wait to see you on that one, Brian. Thank you so much, Brian. See you next week. And we did have a lot of great news about SpaceX this week. Crew 4 will fly to the International Space Station in a new Dragon capsule named Freedom. The name celebrates the fundamental human rights and innovation that emanate from the unencumbered human spirit. And NASA awards SpaceX a second Artemis program Starship mission to land astronaut on the moon with the Starship Human Landing System. I still can't wrap my head around that we are actually doing this right now. Not just SpaceX, but NASA is working on the lunar base and the lunar space station called Gateway and the Mars missions. And in only 4 years, SpaceX and NASA are targeting to send humans back to the moon. Man, we are truly living in such an exciting time. Thank you, Elon, and everyone at SpaceX, NASA, and Tesla for making us all so excited about the future. And since not much big international news comes out of my little tiny country, Denmark, I just wanted to share that NASA has selected 2 more astronauts to fly on SpaceX Crew 7 mission that is planned for not earlier than 2023, and one of those astronauts is a Danish astronaut, Andreas Mogensen. Congratulations, Andreas, what an exciting mission to be a part of, because he and American astronaut Jasmine will stay at the International Space Station for 6 months doing research. And NASA has ordered 6 additional International Space Station resupply missions from SpaceX as well. The maximum potential value of all contracts is about $14 billion. Not bad. And let's squeeze in the last short news topics into this news show. Yes, it's time for the Tesla shorts. Hertz Global Holding has added Tesla's Model Y to its electric vehicle fleet, according to their website. So in addition to the already 100,000 Model 3s they have ordered, now they want thousands of Model Ys as well. And of course it is Tesla's models they are after, because that is the only model in the world you can get in high volume. If they ask Ford for 100,000 Mark Es, well, that will be twice as many as they delivered in the entire year of 2021. Or all of Mercedes' sales of BEVs in all of 2021 of all their models. No one else can deliver this many electric cars in one model other than Tesla. And maybe this big deal helped deliveries being pushed even further out in the US. The Model Y long range went from January to April 2023 now. But then again, Sawyer did show us that this is the common theme for all Tesla's model in the US. So maybe it's not just Hertz making a big splash, but maybe just as Tripp said, this is just Tesla's monstrous demand. Even though they have been raising prices for over a year now. And I hope you had a chance to buy some Tesla stock on the dip, like I did, for $775. Because I don't think we will be seeing $775 again. NIO did also rise a bit over the last week, so hope you got a chance to get that free stock that I was offering with my link when you open a Moomoo account and make a deposit of just $1. If you didn't, you still have the chance. The offer lasts until the end of this month, so hurry up if you want 5 free stock and 1 free NIO stock. Link down below. And Elon tweeted, "Free speech is essential for a functioning democracy. Do you believe Twitter rigorously adheres to this principle? The consequence of this poll will be important. Please vote carefully." Don't know what Elon is cooking on here, but you know when he does something like this, it makes waves. And he always has a meaning when he does things like this. Also, when he says the consequences are important, well, you know he is meaning it. So definitely something we should have to keep an eye on. And LG Energy Solution announced $1.5 billion battery factory in Arizona. It will be LG's first ever US-based battery factory to make cylindrical electric vehicle cells, which are typically used in automakers like Tesla and Lucid. They expect to break ground on the plant in Q2 2022, and the factory is expected to be operational by 2024 with 11 gigawatt hours of capacity. So in 2 years they will have 11 gigawatt hours. This is not much more than what Tesla's pilot plant at Katy Road is doing. Yeah, this is just such a good showcase of how fast Tesla is able to build a factory and scale up a much higher volume of gigawatt hours of production. The battery manufacturer can't keep up with Tesla in producing batteries. And Elon said at the Berlin Delivery Day that Tesla plans to release the full self-driving beta in Canada later this week, and Tesla will tackle Europe next. Maybe by the end of this year, if everything with regulatories goes well. So probably in 2023.
Yeah, it's like things are a little different in the US. Like in the US, things are legal by default, and in Europe they're illegal by default. So.
And Joe Tagmeyer shared some videos and photos of the Model Y on the move on trucks departing the Gigafactory, Texas, on the 23rd of March, looking like we are finally seeing transport for the produced cars now. Wonder where they're heading? Good question, Joe. And take a look at this, and while doing so, remember Tesla is the fastest growing company in history that make large manufacturing, and Tesla spent $0 on advertising, but is spending more on R&D than any other of the old guys. But they sell a lot more cars, of course, so this is not really a good metrics that can tell us anything really, but the amount of money they spend on advertising per vehicle is just much more interesting, because everyone has to put another $400 or $500 of cost on their vehicles because of all the money they spend on advertising, and Tesla spends none. And Rivian shows off a cool video of the Rivian R1T and all its cargo spaces. I didn't actually know that they had a huge cargo room under the back seat and little small rooms under the front seat and so on. Very cool. I really hope they will be able to survive the production hell they're going through, because this is a really nice electric pickup truck. And it's not just Hertz that are getting Teslas. Club Wi-Fi in the UK tweeted to me that they have just bought 4 Teslas, 2 Model 3s and 2 Model Ys for their business. Nice. And Hallmark's catalog tweeted a picture of an ICE Mustang for sale for $64,000. Yes, I agree with Hallmark here. How is this cheaper than an EV? The Model 3 Performance costs less than that and will smoke this car on every single spec. And this is the awesome technology inside the 2021 Mustang. You have got to be kidding me. Who buys these dinosaurs? Probably the same guys that thinks 30 different models and 50 different colors of paint is necessary if you want to call yourself a luxury car brand. Yeah, I say technology is the ultimate luxury. And so much for the German build quality. Yeah, I think I'll just stick with my Tesla Model 3. And according to GM Authority, the US Department of Homeland Security announced that it will appoint a number of business chief executives to an independent advisory council. Among these executives is, of course, GM CEO Mary Embarrassing. Yeah, the simulation is out of control. And Sandy Monroe thinks that Tesla's full self-driving is not working. They need FLIR, forward-looking infrared, to make it work. But I think Sandy is forgetting that Tesla is not just making a full self-driving car, it is solving vision, a big part of general AI, not just full self-driving. And FLIR cannot make it alone. So they see everything, they can see the sign but not read the sign. So you still need more than just FLIR. And then we are back to having 2 systems that makes everything more messy, as Elon talked about with camera and radar, that sometimes don't agree, and then which one should you trust? But if you want to make a deep dive into this topic, Dr. Know-It-All made a great video explaining all of that, and I will leave a link to that video down below if you want to learn more. And Alex showed off a mock on Twitter that the Giga Berlin body in white team had made for Elon as a gift at Berlin Delivery Day. Very nice. And before we end off with a bit of fun, I just want to make a quick shout out to my 2 new Patreons, Dominic Fagundes and MG. Thank you so much for all your support. I am doing this all by myself, but you guys are all the producers of this new show. Thank you. And a big and special thanks to Supporter of the Week, and this week's winner is Stephen Smith. Stephen Smith have been a Be Nice and You Are, Stephen, members of mine for the last 18 months. So one of my longest standing members. Thank you so much, Stephen, for all your support. Please contact me on this email down below so I can send you your free t-shirt or mug of your choice. And let's end off with a bit of fun. And since Mary Embarrassing is going to be part of Homeland Security Advisor panel. Let's see one other thing she also won. Because we know there is a Miss World and a Miss Universe. But there's also Miss Lead. That's a good one. Mislead. And that is all we have time for in this news show. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button. It really does help this video out a lot. And if you did like it, maybe you want to consider hitting that subscribe button, notification bell, so you don't miss out on future videos just like this one. If you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for your support, and if you want to support the channel even more, remember you can, for as little as $1, become a patron of this channel and get your shout out on this show. You can also become a member of the YouTube channel to get a shout out and some extra perks. Hit the members button to find out more. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter. I tweet all the news as it comes out and more. And check out the merch store to get some merchandise and support the show. Now it's also possible to support the show without buying anything, becoming a member or a patron. There is a link to donation options in the show notes. But going forward, I will be making more videos for patrons and members only. And I will give my YouTube members and patrons early access to my videos whenever possible and make my videos ads free for members and patrons only. So don't miss out. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.